afternoon. It's great to see everyone. My name is Lynn Blanchard, and I have the honor of serving as the director of the Carolina Center for Public Service. I'd like to welcome you to the 23rd Annual Public Service Awards celebration. We're excited, especially this year, because we're gathering in person for the first time since 2019 on a beautiful Carolina day here in Chapel Hill. And although they didn't win a Public Service Award, I just want to recognize the basketball team for what they brought to us this spring. We want to start today by acknowledging that this hill has always been populated by indigenous peoples. Even before the university existed, there were teachers, students, elders, and youth inhabiting the spaces we enjoy today, trading knowledge and goods with one another. Today, there are more than 130,000 American Indians residing in North Carolina from many different nations, including the 8 state-recognized tribes and 4 urban Indian communities. North Carolina is home to the largest population of American Indians east of the Mississippi River. Therefore, it is fitting for the first public university committed to being of the people and for the people to serve the first people of North Carolina and beyond. We're excited that through the wonders of technology, that's been, especially that's been gained over the last 2 years, we're able to have many of those who cannot be here in person join us virtually. Join us to honor some of the students, faculty, and staff of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill who exemplify Carolina's commitment to public service and community engagement. We gather at a time of many difficulties and challenges for the universities, for communities across the state, nation, and around the world. At such times, it's easy to get discouraged, and so it makes our time of coming together to celebrate some of the very best in public service and engagement and engaged scholarship here at Carolina even more important. The connections these individuals, organizations, and projects have with the community beyond our campus are outstanding examples of Carolina's commitment to bringing the mission of teaching, research, and service to life. Today, we come together to celebrate those being honored and to recognize Carolina's role in working with communities to address issues of shared concerns. After we officially recognize their efforts, we hope those of you present will stay for the reception honoring them. While we gather today for formal award presentations, we also want to recognize that each of you has in some way had an impact on this work. Whether you're a community partner, donor, public official, faculty or staff member, administrator, student, or perhaps a parent, child, spouse, or friend of one of the awardees, we acknowledge you and your support of these efforts. We're particularly pleased to have Chancellor Kevin Guskiewicz and Provost Clemens here with us today to present the awards. It speaks to the importance they both place on public service and engagement, as well as their commitment to recognize and honor that they make it a priority to be here. Kevin Guskiewicz is the 12th Chancellor of the University and former Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences. Chancellor Guskiewicz is a renowned neuroscientist, researcher, and academic leader whose work on sports-related concussions has resulted in safety improvements in high school sports and concussion guidelines and recommendations used by the NCAA and the NFL. A hallmark of his administration has been his focus on Carolina's connection and service to the state, demonstrated by the revival of the Tar Heel Bus Tour and the new initiative, Carolina Across 100. And while he's not yet won a Campus Public Service Award, he has received a MacArthur Award, a MacArthur Fellowship. Please join me in welcoming Chancellor Guskiewicz.
Thank you, Lynn, and it's a pleasure to be with everyone this afternoon. And I want to take an opportunity to thank Lynn Blanchard. I mean, Lynn, your commitment to service for our state is unparalleled. And we are going to get back on that bus. Lynn and I met a few weeks ago, and we were planning the next Tar Heel bus tour that's going to take place during fall break of 2022. So it's coming up soon, but thanks for your incredible leadership. And it's wonderful to be back in person for the first time in quite a while for these incredible and very important awards. I talk often about, as Lynn said, ensuring that we are always connected to the people of North Carolina. There's no better way that we do that than through the public service work that happens through our great university. It's central to our mission and who we are as a leading global public research university. And it's our job to ensure that our teaching, our research, and our service always benefits the state of North Carolina. It is one of, well, we have 8 strategic initiatives in Carolina Next, but the one which I think is critically important is to serve to benefit society, and we do that in so many ways, and it is through our teaching, research, and service. And I think throughout the pandemic, we have seen every day the impact that our university has through service, through the members of our community and the ways in which they've done this. Service doesn't just help others. I think we can make the argument, and we're going to see and hear that today, it also helps ourselves. It's about helping others, but also it helps ourselves. I know each of our award recipients today can tell stories of how their lives have been changed because of their commitment to service. And I've seen that service work across our university every day, every week. One example is the School of Education. Most recently, and it was just announced last week, we are launching this August our Carolina Community Academy. This is going to be a lab school that is being led through a partnership with Person County Schools. And Dean Fuad Adel-Halik, the Dean of the School of Education, has worked tirelessly alongside other leaders on our campus to put this together in a relatively short period of time. It's going to include a lot of wraparound services for students in the K through second grade up in Person County Schools. It's just one of many examples that I could share with you about the ways in which our great public university provides this unique service to the citizens of North Carolina. Last month, we celebrated Carolina Engagement Week, highlighting a number of ways in which our community-driven partnerships between local community leaders and Carolina faculty, staff, and students is making a difference here locally. More than 30 campus units and their partners from across the state took part. Last month, we announced up at Durham Tech in Hillsborough our first initiative out of the Carolina Cross 100 initiative that Lynn mentioned earlier. And this is an initiative called Our State, Our Work. And this is where we're going to try to reconnect North Carolinians, specifically between the ages of 18 and 24, where 11% of North Carolinians between the ages of 18 and 24 are currently disconnected from either work or school. And so we are making an effort through Carolina Cross 100 in this initiative with Anita Brown Graham to do everything to try to provide networking opportunities to reconnect those between the ages of 18 and 24 to work or school opportunities. So we see incredible examples of excellence in service here at Carolina with our award winners this afternoon. Your dedication makes our university, our state, and our world a better place. And so I just want to thank you for living out Carolina's mission of service. You have responded to community concerns and built a strong community through these important partnerships. And so thank you for giving your time and efforts to making the world a better place. Thank you to the Carolina Center for Public Service for organizing this ceremony. And I'm now going to turn it back over to Lynn Blanchard for the next part of our program. Lynn. Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor Guskiewicz. We appreciate the opportunity to honor this event, to host this event for the university, and we're grateful for those who helped make it possible. So before recognizing our award recipients, I want to thank the team that organized this event and who put the same thought, effort, and energy all year long into efforts connecting Carolina and communities. Would the Carolina Center for Public Service professional and student staff please stand so we can show our appreciation? In particular, I want to thank Charlissa Rice, Alex Saunders, and Ryan Nielsen for their attention to detail and keeping us all organized. Thank you all. I also want to thank the other members of the 2022 Public Service Awards Committee. If you're here, stand to be acknowledged, please. Patricia Harris, Meg Langford, Ryan LaValle, Josmel Perez, and Elena Vidrascu. And at the risk of missing anyone, I know we have at least one public official from Chapel Hill Council here. Adam Searing is here to join us, and I believe that Michael Parker is on virtually. Welcome, Adam. And may I just share his connection to somebody who does great engaged scholarship. Mimi Chapman is Adam's wife. So, the first awards to be presented today are the Robert E. Bryan Public Service Awards. These awards were established in 1999 to recognize individual students, staff, and faculty for exemplary public service efforts. The award honors alumnus Robert E. Bryan, a native of Newton Grove, North Carolina, who worked his way through Carolina by selling newspapers and oranges. After his 1926 graduation, he went on to live in Goldsboro, where he continued to exemplify public service throughout his life, serving in elected, appointed, and voluntary positions at the state, local, and county level. We're very pleased, I think, to welcome his daughter Marjorie, who's joining us virtually today from Florida. This year's honorees carry on his proud tradition of the nation's first public university. The Undergraduate Student Award goes to Will Douthit, a senior business administration major at UNC Keenan Flagler Business School. Will, would you please join us on stage? Will is receiving the Robert E. Bryan Public Service Award for his leadership of and work with Carolina Homelessness Prevention Initiative, an organization that works in close partnership with the Orange County Partnership to End Homelessness to support local residents in avoiding homelessness. This initiative is the evolution of an organization called Focus on Franklin that resulted from students learning from their work with the county that a major gap in local efforts to prevent homelessness was the availability of flexible diversion funding. Will and his team began fundraising, raising $18,000 in the first year to be provided directly to residents, whether it's a $50 grocery voucher to keep food on the table or a $1,000 check to pay the rent. Corey Root, Orange County Housing Director, stated, "The Carolina Homelessness Prevention Initiative transformed the homeless service system in Orange County. It has been amazing to work with this capable and inspiring group of undergraduates under Will's leadership." Please join us in congratulating Will Douthit.
Thank you for the introduction, Dr. Blanchard. And good evening, everyone. My name is Will Douthit. I am the president of Carolina Homelessness Prevention Initiative. I would like to start today by thanking the Carolina Center for Public Service and the Robert E. Bryan Award Committee for acknowledging the efforts and the commitment that CHIPI, or Carolina Homeless Prevention Initiative, has made in combating homelessness in Orange County. Additionally, I'd like to thank a long list of individuals who have contributed so greatly to furthering the efforts of our organization and really playing a crucial role in our operations. First, our partners at the Orange County Partnership to End Homelessness, Corey Root, Rachel Waltz, Kat Weiss, have all been wonderful partners. Second, I'd like to thank the students, current and former, who have been responsible for founding and furthering the vision of CHIPI. Warner Lamar, Nate Miller, William Goldberg, Henry Foster. And lastly, I would like to thank our donors who have helped us raise now over $23,000 in funds and helped keep around 100 individuals and households out of homelessness. A small contribution goes such a long way, and without them, we are very thankful. And finally, I'm truly humbled to accept this reward. I could not have seen this coming in the past few years of being a student here, but I'm just super eager to see the future prospects of this organization, and I'm optimistic that we will dig our roots deeper into the Carolina community upon my graduation and into the coming years. So thank you all.
Dane Emmerling receives the Graduate Student Award for his outstanding community engagement over 4 years of teaching in the Master of Public Health capstone course in the Gilling School of Global Public Health, and his engaged research evaluating trainings with the Racial Equity Institute. In Dane's 4 years serving as a capstone TA, he has helped 39 Carolina-based organizations connect to student teams and coached teams on work plans, balancing contributions to the organizations with student learning opportunities. He's supported, advised, and problem-solved with 176 students, while they provided more than 31,000 hours of service to partner organizations. In addition, Dane has exemplified engagement in his own community-based participatory research, which is resulting in his dissertation is getting done, and he'll be graduating soon, working in close partnership with the Racial Equity Institute to evaluate their training programs, which are addressing critical public health and societal issues. Please join me in congratulating Dane Emmerling.
Thank you so much for this award. I'd like to thank the partners who have been so invaluable in mentoring the students that we have in our master's program. I'd like to thank the Racial Equity Institute and Dina Hayes Green for their partnership and collaboration over these 4 years. Would like to thank the people who mentor me, Meg Lanfried, Jeannie Ng, folks at the Center for Public Service, and also my parents who are watching virtually, and my partner, Courtney. Thank you all so much for this award.
The Robert E. Bryan Public Service Staff Award goes to Allison Standard Constance for her leadership and direction of the Pro Bono Initiative at UNC Law. In her role as director of the Pro Bono Initiative, Ms. Constance advises and supervises students working on pro bono projects. This year, 93% of law students enrolled for the 2021 academic year and participated. Their projects have a special focus on low-income and rural areas and often include trips for students across the state, drafting wills and power of attorney documents in Morganton, Hickory, and Lenoir, working on housing and eviction issues in Charlotte, and helping veterans in Asheville with discharge upgrades get better medical benefits. She further engages in pro bono work with the driver's license restoration and also coordinates the Juvenile Justice Project, a collaboration with UNC, with North Carolina Prisoner Legal Services. One student nominator wrote, "Allison's projects always focus on current community needs, and she instills in us a sense of consciousness for how we may best serve our communities based on their own material circumstances and the gaps that we as burgeoning lawyers may fill." I also want to point out that she writes a great nomination because we've honored many of these student organizations that she advises, but it's great today to honor Allison.
Thank you all for this award. It's truly an honor to be selected and to be in such amazing company as well. I also want to give a huge thank you to the students who nominated me. There is nothing more special and humbling than finding out that the students that you work with have schemed behind your back to do something so nice and thoughtful. So I really appreciate all of you who made those efforts. It's especially meaningful. I also want to thank all of you in this room who facilitate service learning opportunities. I have a feeling that many of you feel overworked and unappreciated at times. I know that there are times that I do, but I want you to know how much it matters. As a naive teenager from South Carolina, I was drawn to Carolina for the spirit of engagement and service that I felt when I first visited Chapel Hill. And that feeling has never gone away. The first time that I ever worked in a courtroom was as a volunteer with the Apples program almost 20 years ago in Durham Teen Court. As a law student, I found my own passions by engaging in pro bono opportunities that the law school provided for me. Much of my personal interest and career focus has been working with people who are incarcerated. something that I may not have explored, but for a pro bono project I did 16 years ago with people incarcerated during Hurricane Katrina. I am, without a doubt, a product of UNC's mission to serve the world around us, and I'm truly grateful for all that each and every one of you do to support and foster the spirit of community service and engagement. Volunteer work is an amazing way to be a force multiplier and to put our efforts and skills into something good. And each of you here are contributing to that. And for that, I'm truly grateful, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you and to be celebrated today. So thank you.
This year, we are excited to be recognizing 2 faculty members with Robert E. Bryan Public Service Awards. The first goes to Robyn Jordan, Assistant Professor in the Department of Psychiatry in the School of Medicine, for working in partnership to create a network of addiction clinics in North Carolina that will accept patients suffering from addiction. Overdose deaths in North Carolina reached record levels in 2021. Dr. Jordan is leading multiple efforts to increase access to life-saving addiction care. Even as COVID put an extra strain on hospital resources, she created a hospital-based addiction consult service, which is the first of its kind at UNC. Many patients with addiction pass through UNC Hospital, but their addiction cares weren't necessarily met before. Dr. Jordan has created a specialized service to care for these patients and connect them with clinics outside of the hospital. She also helped develop UNC ECHO, a telehealth education program that trains primary care providers in rural parts of North Carolina to provide high-quality addiction care. She's helped create addiction treatment where none existed before across the state. In part, as recognition of her leadership, she was recently elected president of the North Carolina Addiction Medicine Society. Please join me in congratulating Robyn Jordan.
Thank you very much, and I need to start by thanking my family and for Dr. Alex Gertner, who's the one that nominated me for this award. Alex has been a wonderful partner in this experience, and my family, by far, has sacrificed a lot to allow me to do the work that I do, and I really do appreciate that. It was said earlier that it's important to enjoy the service that we do, and I hear all the time, "Oh, bless you for this work." How do you treat addiction? It's so terrible, and the reality is, to me, it's the best part of medicine. I get to participate in people in their journey and recovery, and I get to watch people get better, and I get to train others to do this work as well. So it's an incredibly rewarding field, and I really do appreciate it. It gets some negative attention, but I really, really appreciate that this committee has decided to highlight addiction work as well. So thank you all, and I appreciate this. Thank you.
The second Robert E. Bryan Public Service Faculty Award goes to William Sturkey, Associate Professor in History, for his outstanding scholarship on the history of race in the American South and his service to the state of North Carolina in sharing that history through public lectures, insightful interviews and writings, and in the training of K-12 public school teachers. A nominator and colleague described his scholarship as characterized by brilliant, nuanced, and powerful analysis of people whose stories have been marginalized within standard historical narratives. Just one example of Dr. Sturkey's engagement is work on elevating the life of the late Reverend Dr. Pauli Murray, one of the most remarkable yet overlooked black lives of the 20th century. He partnered with Carolina K-12 and the Orange County Human Rights Coalition to host a workshop for K-12 teachers on teaching the struggles and contributions of Murray. He also worked with a team to produce On the Books, an online digitation of North Carolina's Jim Crow laws that picks up Murray's work on Jim Crow laws and extends it for today's scholars and K-12 teachers. Please join me in congratulating William Sturkey.
Thanks to all of you. Thank you to Lynn, Kevin, Chris, everybody here that makes this award possible. A couple years ago, the novelist Marilyn Robinson wrote something that I think about all the time. She said, "I consider the American university to be among the highest achievements of Western civilization." And it was a part of another essay, but that line stuck with me, and I think there's a lot to that. One of the other arguments that you could make about the achievements of Western civilization is democracy. But UNC is a place where those two things intersect. That's why we have the university. And it's really an honor to think about working here in regard to that opportunity for public service for other people out there. I've never worked or attended a private school as far as I know. No one in my family has ever attended or worked at a private school. And growing up, that was always ingrained in us, the value and importance of public education. So it's really an honor to pull all these things together in a way that allows me to serve. I just want to share 3 things that I think I've learned about service working here at UNC Chapel Hill over the years. One is that, you don't make yourself into a public servant by saying, I'm going to take a certain amount of time out of my day, or I'm going to do, my job will be 40% research, 40% teaching, 5% service, whatever. You make yourself essential by being essential in the community when they need you. They shouldn't have to come and find you. You go and you serve them. You go find them. That's your responsibility. That's your opportunity. I think that could be said for the entire university. The other thing is that service is not just a task. It's not just an obligation. It's who you are. When a bunch of 8th graders need help understanding Reconstruction and all the history that's being talked about in our community, you go help them because that's just who you are. When our community is struggling, as we have in some cases with public history crisis, you help people understand that better because that's just who you are. It's not just a task that you have to do. It's just part of your creed, who you are as a person. And I really admire that in this administration, that it's been, part of who Kevin wants Carolina to be, because I don't think that's always been the case since I've been here. And the third thing is that everybody can say they want to be involved in public service, and we can all do public service. But there's a moment sometimes when the public service gets really hard because it's controversial or it's political or whatever. That's the moment that they need you the most. And I just want to encourage folks to not shy away from challenging things, from difficult conversations. That's what public service should be. It's really an honor to work here. I'm very glad to be a part of this award ceremony in this community. So thank you very much.
So I need to ask if there's anyone here from the Hispanic Student Dental Association. Oh, good. Oh, I was looking at those seats over there. Great. The Robert E. Bryan Public Service Student Organization Award goes to the Hispanic Student Dental Association in the UNC Adams School of Dentistry. Stephanie Wangerin, current co-president, will speak on behalf of the current and past co-presidents here to accept the award. Arlise Montes Sanchez, Stephanie, Gabriela Gallo, and Virginia Montes Aviles. They're joined by Dr. Rini Daniel, Vitas de Esperanza Clinic Faculty Advisor.
First, I just want to say thank you so much for honoring us here today. It's obviously a room filled with great company, and we're really excited to be a part of that. A large part of our work as the Hispanic Student Dental Association is public service in Siler City. We operate a dental clinic there twice a month, and we just have so many people to thank for being able to do that work. A lot of which are in this room. We have a team of about 12 students who dedicate hundreds of hours of time to make this happen, not to mention the student volunteers who come out and provide services, and then just wonderful, wonderful faculty like Dr. Danielle who come out and support our work, advocate for us, advocate for our patients. Community partners and supporters like the Dental Foundation of North Carolina and the Carolina Latinx Center. Just so many people who support our work and a much needed work. So we're really excited to highlight that here today and have the opportunity just to share what we do. So thank you so much.
All right, I got so excited that they were here that I forgot to read the little blurb. So, the Hispanic Student Dental Association works alongside, as Stephanie said, the nonprofit Vidas de Esperanza in Siler City to provide dental services twice a month to a largely Hispanic population in need of dental treatment. The dental treatment they provide fills a need in this community for culturally competent and compassionate Spanish-speaking dental providers. Over the past few years, they've expanded the clinic to meet growing demands and to become the dental home for many of these patients in need of care. During 2021, they provided more than $47,500 of no-cost dental care to patients. Relieving people's pain and helping patients to regain their smiles and confidence has a lasting impact in not only each individual patient's life, but also in the life of the volunteers and in the health and well-being of the community. So congratulations again. Our next awards are the Office of the Provost Engaged Scholarship Awards, and I'm happy to introduce Provost Chris Clemens to make a few remarks and present the awards. Chris Clemens became Carolina's Executive Vice Chancellor and Provost on February 1st of this year. An accomplished astrophysicist, he has served as Chair of Physics and Astronomy, Senior Associate Dean for Natural Sciences, and Senior Associate Dean for Research and Innovation in the College of Arts and Sciences, and most recently as the Director of Carolina's Institute for Convergent Science. He was instrumental in launching the college's Program for Public Discourse in 2019, serving as its inaugural director. And on a personal note, I just want to share that I met Chris Clemens years ago. We won't say how many, no, but you'll know because I met him after Katrina, when he called the office and said, I'm headed to Mississippi and I've got a van. I can take stuff. So we loaded up a van from Carolina and he drove it to Mississippi, and I knew then that he was all in on public service. So Provost Clemens, would you please join us on stage?
Thank you, Lynn, for that introduction. It is a true pleasure to be here, and it's a pleasure to have just started job as your provost. And Dr. Sturkey, thank you for bringing us that quote from Marilyn Robinson. I will say that which can be invented can be improved. The original university did not actually accumulate people who were disposed toward engagement or public service. It was a bit more of a cloistered environment, and that's where comes this mental image of professors as huddled over manuscripts with a candle in a small room thinking all day long. But that's not Carolina. Carolina is an improvement, an innovation, if you like, on the medieval model of the university, in which we hire, promote, and encourage faculty who are disposed toward engagement. And that's what we're here to honor today. The Office of the Provost Engaged Scholarship Award was established in 2000 by Provost Dick Richardson to recognize extraordinary public service and engaged scholarship at the University of North Carolina. The awards recognize faculty members or university units for exemplary scholarship and service to the state of North Carolina. They're given in three categories: engaged teaching, engaged research, and university community partnership. Public service is integrally related to all parts of our mission at Carolina, and I'm excited to be here today to recognize and celebrate those who are honored for making the connection of engagement, teaching, and research, and who understand the importance of reciprocal partnerships with our communities across the state. So I'm here to help and to congratulate everyone and all of you who engage in public service, and let's get on with the awards.
Receiving the Office of the Provost Award for Engaged Research is Tonya Van Deinse. Did I get that right? All right. Clinical Associate Professor of Social Work. Her research addresses mental illness issues in the North Carolina criminal legal system. Over the last several years, Dr. Van Deinse has work closely with Durham County community partners to enhance the jail's mental health screening and identification processes, and to implement and evaluate a reentry program for people with mental illness and substance use disorder. She is completing a community capacity assessment of county supports for people with mental illness in the criminal legal system and serves on various community committees focused on programming for Durham residents with mental illness. At the statewide level, she was elected by the North Carolina Governor's Crime Commission to conduct Victims of Crime Needs Assessment to examine whether support structures meet the needs of victims. The assessment focuses on underserved groups, including tribal communities, immigrants, older adults, LGBTQ plus individuals, and is developed in partnership with state and community providers and advocacy organizations. Congratulations, Tonya, for your exemplary engaged scholarship.
I wish I had notes, so you're just going to get what you get that comes out. But first, obviously, I'm so appreciative of being able to sit next to this row of folks who are doing the work, and then also appreciative to have been nominated in the first place. Dr. Cheryl Zimmerman and other folks at the School of Social Work, I certainly appreciate the nomination and the mentorship I've also received from Dr. Zimmerman and then Dave Rosen of the School of Medicine and Dr. Cuddyback, who's now at VCU, but that's all right. I think most importantly, too, though, when I think about the work that we do as community engaged researchers, I think about the community partners we work with and how historically universities can walk into communities pretending like we know everything, from the people who have the candle crowding around a manuscript in a room and telling communities how to do stuff. Obviously, that's not the way we should be doing it. So I do want to note long-term partnerships with the Criminal Justice Resource Center, Governor's Crime Commission, Department of Public Safety, and lots of local community organizations and mental health service providers who are doing great work. And my passion is around folks who have serious mental illnesses who are in the criminal legal system, and so that's who I think about daily. And so I appreciate the work that they do. And then also, I want to note the research team that I have is amazing, and they're the ones who should be standing up here right now. It's a great group of faculty and staff and students, and the students are from Gillings School of Global Public Health. Thank you, Meg. I think you might be in the room. Hey. Great capstone students and practicum students, and then we have lots of students from the School of Social Work. And then last but certainly not least, family, as I think someone mentioned previously, sometimes doesn't get as much of our attention when we're out in the communities doing work. So thanking my wife, Ashley, and then I think my mom and my grandma are also joining virtually. So thank you so much.
The winner of the Office of Provost Award for Engaged Teaching is Allison DeMarco, Advanced Research Scientist at the Frank Porter Graham Child Development Institute and Adjunct Assistant Professor in the School of Social Work. She receives the Engaged Teaching Award for her partnership with the Community Empowerment Fund on an undergraduate service learning course focused on economic justice. Dr. DeMarco has partnered in a number of ways with the Community Empowerment Fund, a Chapel Hill and Durham-based nonprofit founded, by the way, by Carolina students, which since 2009 has worked to end the racial wealth gap by supporting more than 3,000 members, persons who are experiencing homelessness or housing insecurity, annually in reaching their employment and finance goals. For 6 years, Dr. DeMarco has taught an undergraduate service learning course through which students serve as volunteer advocates with CEF and receive training in conducting racial equity assessments. They have tackled issues including transit planning, historical zoning decisions, community engagement for comprehensive plan development, environmental justice issues surrounding coal ash, affordable housing, and land use, and property development. Each year, they present their findings to local elected officials and other leaders in Orange County. In addition, Dr. DeMarco has served as an internship supervisor for 12 Master of Social Work students who have been placed at CEF. Her work has received national scholarly attention, and the team of partners have been inducted into the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation's Interdisciplinary Research Leaders Program. Congratulations, Allison, for your exemplary engaged teaching.
Wow. Well, first, I really need to thank the School of Social Work who wrote that amazing letter, and I didn't realize they were going to say something about our IRL project here, and I am very fortunate to be here with my other academic partnership on that project, and Danielle, Dr. Spurlock, and I were actually meeting about a current our new project talking about structural racism in housing when we both checked our email at the same time and this award came in. So it's wonderful to be sitting here with her today, and I'm just so appreciative of this award. So I want to really thank my community partners at the Community Empowerment Fund, in particular Christina Smith, who could not join us today, but she said she was going to pop some popcorn and join us online. So I have taught this class with her for 3 years. She's amazing. She is soon to join us here at Carolina as a combined MSW JD student. So very glad for that, and I will miss her, but I know she's not going far. I also want to thank our other community partnerships, particularly George Barrett, who's here today from the Jackson Center, and Yvonne Cleveland, who always come and do some amazing organizing work with our students. I also want to thank our partners with Orange County who come and talk about the homeless service system, because our students do a lot of really dedicated work with folks at risk of experiencing homelessness. And then Lynn mentioned this briefly, but we do a racial equity toolkit project as the midterm for all the students, and have had a great time working with elected officials. And I particularly want to thank Carborough Mayor Damon Siles, who's worked with the team since the beginning of the class 6 years ago. And finally, I would be remiss if I didn't primarily acknowledge the members of the Community Empowerment Fund who generously share their stories with us. And thank you all very much.
So now, her partner. Well, it is a small world. And I just want to note, I don't know about you all, but as I hear, of course we've been talking about and reading these, but I'm just making all these connections in my mind. Even as these awards are all unique, there are so many possible and existing connections. So we hope this will serve as a catalyst. Effective partnerships are essential to engage scholarship, and the Office of the Provost Partnership Award recognizes their significance. The award this year goes to Danielle Spurlock, Assistant Professor in the Department of City and Regional Planning, for leading a sustained partnership between Communities in Partnership in Durham, UNC's Department of City and Regional Planning, and Yes Duke's Nicholas Institute and World Food Policy Center. Over the past 6.5 years, Dr. Spurlock has provided the support that the team needed for implementation of a community-based participatory research model in which the community partners are fully empowered to make decisions. In addition to this specific partnership, nominators noted her active support of a number of rural and urban communities with research and community engagement on policy issues. One nominator wrote, quote, "As one of her mentees, I can say she is my model for how to implement research justice practices with community partnerships and how to justly engage students with communities in ways that don't overburden community partners with supervision and training. I often ask myself, what would Danielle do?" Congratulations to Danielle on this award.
I am here with such a joyful and humble heart to be on this stage. I am a triple Tar Heel. Both of my master's and my PhD are from Carolina. It was a joy to be able to join the faculty and then to do this work, to work with folks like Allison. I had Lynn in class. It's been a wonderful journey. And to that end, I have a lot of people to thank. First, those who are part of the environmental justice movement in North Carolina who shaped me as a scholar. Gary Grant, Naima Mohammed, Steve Wing, Brenda and Omega Wilson, Reverend Campbell and David Caldwell, just a few names that helped, as I began my career, to reshape so we don't have the extractive practices where we parachute in, we get our data, and there's nothing left behind, and nothing changes. I'm here because I work with Communities in Partnership that has enabled me, who's brought me in, who has embraced me as we talk about a new way forward. through community-rooted research, as well as innovation for liberation, for Leah. So I'd like to thank there Cameron Smith and Ernest Smith, Miss Veronica, Candace Rashad, Muffin, Aliyah Abdul Rahman, Joy Bryant, and then my university co-conspirators, Jen Zuckerman, Kay Jowers, Dr. Kay Jowers, who is here, and Kofi Boone. It is through this type of work that we can see what the university really can be. We owe a debt to all of the communities that surround us, that all those years where we didn't do the right thing, where we allow certain injustices to persist. This work is one of the ways where we can map that pathway forward. Thank you very much, and I am just amazed.
Gary Grant, boy, that was a flash.
Go all the way back.
This year, we're pleased to present the 18th Annual Ned Brooks Award for Public Service, which honors the contributions and values of Ned, who served the university for more than 30 years. In 2001, several hundred of Ned's closest friends and colleagues came together to create an endowment to provide an annual award to the individual who exemplifies Ned's leadership through public service, and since then, others have continued to honor Ned through contributions to the fund. We are incredibly pleased to have Ned and his wife Jenny joining us today. Ned, will you join us up here on stage? Ron Strauss has served as UNC Chapel Hill's Executive Vice Provost since 2008 and also served as Chief International Officer for more than a decade. He holds joint appointments in 3 schools and is a member of the UNC Craniofacial Center team. He receives the Ned Brooks Award for a distinguished and sustained record of service to Carolina and the larger community. Ron's nominators had a lot to choose from in highlighting his accomplishments and contributions to our campus and communities. Through his decades-long service at UNC, he has positively influenced and inspired others to follow his lead. While tirelessly serving the university in major campus-level administrative roles, he's continued to care for young children with craniofacial differences weekly in the Adams School of Dentistry Craniofacial Clinic, led the UNC Center for AIDS Research Community Advisory Board, and taught the popular campus-wide AIDS course. As faculty course director of the Thorpe Faculty Engaged Scholars Program, he has consistently demonstrated personal investment in the program and the fellows, as well as individual programs and community partnership. He's been a role model for untold numbers of UNC faculty who consider him their lifelong mentor in community engagement and service. One nominator stated, "Ron's approach to teaching and connecting made a lasting impression on me as a junior faculty member, striving to develop a career that had public service as a cornerstone." And went on to say, as Executive Vice Provost, Ron connects all of the academic deans with the Provost Office. He approaches this role with the same focus on compassion, mentorship, patience, and service. In both of these settings, Ron demonstrated a type of leadership that is rare. It is grounded in humility and connection. It draws on the strengths of others and builds relationships. It relies on trust and openness. It is leadership that looks beyond the leader and the follower to the community that we are all trying to serve and support. Another nominator wrote, "Dr. Strauss is most deserving of this Lifetime Achievement Award. He has been a pillar at Carolina during times of tremendous transition. He is an incredible leader, mentor, servant, and friend." We congratulate Ron Strauss on receiving the 2022 Ned Brooks Award for Public Service.
Well, I don't know how I could be any happier than to get this award in the company of the others who have preceded me here today. But the real magic moment is to be here with Ned Brooks, a personal hero on the stage. Ned is humble and eloquent and has been a remarkable teacher and mentor, and worked in the provost office. He's also an artist. To carry an award that has his name, that's just wonderful. But let me tell you a little bit about, for me, the true entry point for public service. And so much of it is around the Carolina Center for Public Service. I got introduced to sets of partners and collaborators that I never would have met any other way. And my partner in crime for that is no less than Lynn Blanchard. Lynn and I have gone all over North Carolina in a rickety white van that only Lynn can drive. I tried to back it up once and I almost put it in a wall. But she and my dear friend Melvin Jackson, Margaret Barrett, and then precious Lucille Webb, Mrs. Lucille Webb, have been mentors to me and have given me an opportunity to work in community. We've had many cohorts of the faculty engaged scholars. Each of them bring their own project and their own community relationship, and together we learn about communities. What could be more fun? And I'll never forget Mrs. Webb. Mrs. Webb ran a non-governmental organization in Southeast Raleigh called Strengthening the Black Family, and she was and is, she's in her 90s now, she was and is an amazing teacher. And she looked at me one day and she said, you know, the real trick in this work is that you always have to have a seat at the table. And I stopped for a moment and looked at her, and she looked at me back and she said, and if you're not sitting at the table, you're on the menu. And it was a very profound lesson in both power relations and how to work with communities. She taught me how to listen, and it was very important. I've learned that in many other places here at Carolina. I had the wonderful, loving benefit of being a clinician at the UNC Craniofacial Center and working in research there, and people like Don Warren and Amelia Drake and my patients were mentors to me. The dental school has been a wonderful crucible, and I'm going back there in July, and I'm looking forward to it, and it's fun to actually see some of my former mentees as undergrads that are now here as dental students, so go. But it is really the university and its leadership that has allowed me to do community service while I was working in the provost office. I want to say thank you, because I've never had a chance to do that, to my chancellor, Kevin, to our provost, Chris Clemens, and to the provost that preceded him that I work for. I've gotten a chance to work for 5 provosts, starting with Bernadette Gray Little and Bruce Carney, Jim Dean, Bob Lewin, now Chris Clemens, and worked alongside a wonderful colleague who's here today, Carol Tressolini. These are folks that not only nurtured my ability to work with the schools, but allowed me the latitude to continue to do community service. And in that office, there is a wonderful staff person, Nell Resendez Cooper. She was there the day I walked in 14 years ago. She helped me get started, and she continues to support my work and make it possible. But I go back to many other relationships, and I'm looking forward to that. I go back to working at the UNC C4, the Center for AIDS Research, where I've worked since 1986. For some of you, that's ridiculous, but it is the truth. Working with people like Ron Swanstrom and Mike Cohn, and right now I've got a fabulous community engagement partner, Alicia Diggs. I also enjoy the loving embrace of UNC Global, where I was the Chief Global Officer for almost 10 years, and continue to work with Barbara Stevenson. I am and have been a Carolina Covenant mentor, and I have had students for probably about 15 years that are mentors, many of whom have now gone on into their careers. And it makes me so proud even to see them sitting in this room. And I want to thank them because you get as much as you give. That's the way it works. And I really appreciate the leadership of people like Candace Powell to make that program go. But it all pales in comparison to the wonderful experience I've had with a blessed family. And they're here today. And I just want to introduce you to my wife, Dr. Susan Slatkoff, who is a physician in family medicine here at UNC, and to my two daughters, Elena Strauss Wilson, who is here, and Danielle Strauss, who is here. Both of them actually graduates of UNC Chapel Hill in different programs, but blessed by the ability of this university to encourage people to have truly engaged careers. And I say that that is the hallmark of our family, where to do it any differently, I wouldn't fit in. So, folks, I just want you to hear gratitude, and especially for Ned Brooks, who I have felt has mentored me for years. I sit at my desk, and over my desk is a pencil drawing that you made. I look at it every single day. It is amazing. He is a remarkable artist and a remarkable human. So thank you all, and thank you.
So, as you can see from those we've honored here today, these award recipients continue UNC's rich tradition in service and engagement. The individuals and efforts we've recognized today, along with others across campus and throughout communities, are wonderful examples of UNC's commitment to being of the public and for the public. The accomplishments are shared with others and are the result of a commitment, determination, and hard work. The work we celebrate is remarkable and notable for its impact and connection to communities near and far. We've heard about outstanding examples of the amazing work that goes on across our campus, serving to inspire us to help change the world and make it a better place for all of us. We hope you'll stay, those of you who are here, to enjoy some refreshments, and maybe those of you online can pop some popcorn. I think somebody said they were going to do that, and have a little snack and think about this, and learn more about the engaged work that they are doing in communities. And speaking of the award recipients, if each of the award winners would please stay seated where you are, we want to get some photos of you with the Chancellor and Provost, and as a group with your awards. So thank you all for being with us today and for all you do to serve others. Congratulations again to all the individuals and organizations honored today.